This is a portrait that Forrest's friend Brinson, MMA training partner. Thank you, Brinson. That's so beautiful. It's from Forrest's first fight that you made that. I really appreciate it. So today is Easter, and I came up to Cold Spring, New York, to be with my family, and it was lovely to see them and be with them, have wonderful food. Nobody mentioned Forrest. His mom and I looked at each other for a few seconds to acknowledge. So anyway, Easter. I want to talk about why it's my least favorite Christian holiday. And I know it's incredibly popular to riff on Christianity and in general. And I can acknowledge that I am profoundly ignorant of the deeper teachings of the mystery religions, if you will. Like if you talk to people, Christian mystics or whatever, they'll say, well, we don't, the real story of, Christ and Christianity, you don't get it, it's much deeper, in Gnostic circles, you are initiated into, it's like Masonry, you're initiated into the mystery religion, and I suppose some form of pursuit leads you to some rebirth of yourself, metaphorically. And here's where I have my biggest issue with Easter, which I'm sure comes from the word Ishtar, and it goes back to Sumerian stories. But just the Christian version of it is very offensive to me, because what it says, in essence, is that a human being who died cheated death or was reconstituted alive, resurrected, which means absolutely nothing, which means coming up again. There's no do I really need to say much more? A dead person does not come back to life. And so it's offensive to all of the people who know that, and know that from real knowledge. So it didn't happen then, and it won't happen. It will never happen. How do I know? well, let's just say the likelihood of it happening is so astronomically large as to render it so improbable that it's just foolish. It's not an article of faith. It's an article of control. You know, if your culture or your religion can make you believe the most fundamental violation of life itself, then you'll believe anything. If you'll swallow that, then, you know, everything else is going to be fine. So the idea, and actually the claim, some people, you know, I'm sure even listening to this, believe this thing even though they haven't investigated it. And if you do, um, I think you'll find that the whole thing is just a crock of shit. That's not to say that the impulse and the stories of how they generated aren't trying to tell us something, but that's a totally different bag than actually hook, line, and sinkering that a dead person undied. And it's offensive. It's a way of sidestepping the real work and having a what is that, like a sacrificial lamb die for you. You know, so what? You don't have to be the best you can be. Um, but let's not even get into that. A dead person, a person who has stopped breathing and started decaying, and they shit themselves, and and the blood goes to places, and they get stiff, and they smell very quickly. My son's room smelled, and he wasn't in there very long. Hours. So just the assertion is offensive, and I think it violates the trust that we have with each other to be honest. And that's one of, you know, if not the core tenet of Christianity. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, really. I really don't care. If you want to believe weird things, do it. But it's bad for the brain. I heard that Zen masters have the answers to all the koans. And they'll give you a koan and you'll solve it, but they'll give you another one that's unsolvable just to make you frustrated enough to be like, this is bullshit, you know, ridiculous. This is an unanswerable question. Why am I wasting my time? And it's in that moment that you may grasp that it's all a waste of time. And that once you sort of, you know, once you get that, you you feel part, you are, recognize yourself as part of everything. But but anyway, I heard that they have a book of the answers of the koans. I just thought that was hilarious. They're like, oh, you got the right answer. And really, they're made to make you jump out of your, you know, linear thinking. And I don't mean to elevate one school of thought over another necessarily, though I think Buddhism is far superior to Christianity. But then again, that's, you know, there's all kinds of Buddhism that are trapped in stupid shit, you know, mythological thinking, monsters, whatever. Something that dies does not undie. And any religion or anything that is telling you that that has happened, you should make haste opposite direction. That's what this grieving father has to tell you. I'm telling you this from not a religious, not a any. It's here and here. It's a stupid, foolish, backward, life-denying assertion.